let's get this sound and everything. Load this up. Alright, we should be good to go. Alright, hey guys, welcome to Race Spec Pacific Tier 4, here for round 4 at Spain. I am Bodhod and I'll be your commentator this evening as these guys tackle the circuit. I think it's called the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. I probably should have looked up the name of that before I tried to say it, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure it's Circuit de Barcelona, and if it's not, then it's in Barcelona, so that's okay. So I'll just check the sound. Alright, I think we're good. Alrighty, so beautiful sunshine as these guys just start their qualifying laps. Variety of tyres selected by drivers here, which is good to see. It's always good to see a couple of different strategies rocking on the track. Makes the race that a little bit more interesting at a track which traditionally is not that fantastic for racing, so you'll have to see how they go. Yeah, full grid tonight as well. I think it's the first time this season's tier has had a full grid. I think in the last few weeks we've had a couple of drivers missing, but it's good to see everyone here. So yeah, that should make things even more exciting as we are on board with Dan the Racer. There's a couple of guys, I think there's one guy who'll finish his lap before him. So we'll stay on Dan the Racer, who should be the second one to set a lap time. Come through the third sector, which is the most technical sector on the track, quite difficult with the curbs. I'm trying to carry a bit of speed because it's so easy to lose the car, or yeah, just jump those curbs and either cut the track or just go straight on. But Dan the Racer's done a pretty good job there, and he's going to come across in P2, drop to P3, his insulator right behind him, literally right behind him. So it's the fastest lap so far, the 16.3. His teammate, the third guy to settle out, looks like someone's coming across the line. That's P White, alright. He'll put in a 17.1. Sus cuts through the final corner. His lap is invalid, as you can see by the red track map on the right there. So he'll come around and do another one. Probably not the worst thing on mediums, actually. You can kind of do 2 out laps or 2 hot laps in a row after your out lap on the mediums, and they'll still retain some grip. So this lap could potentially be even better. As I think we've got, who's that? I think Drow's gone round. Yeah, so trying to push a bit too hard, a little bit early. Watch out for those boards. It's an awkward place to be parked because it's right in the race line. He can't really jump on the track, so he's done well to get out of everyone's way there, but that's yeah, not a great start to qualifying for the Mercedes driver. We'll jump back on board with Suskus, who's coming through the second sector. Now this is a place which is going to be really tricky for drivers. It's really easy to lose the back end, and it's also really easy to cut. On the last game you could really cut those chicanes, but you really can't afford to touch those curbs at all, otherwise yeah, your car's either going round or you're going to get your lap invalidated. So that's something that the driver's going to have to be careful of during the race. There's a few places where track limits are a thing, and that's definitely one of them. So we'll have to keep an eye out for the penalties and where they pick them up as Suskus comes through the final couple of corners. Had a couple of good results in this tier already, which is good, but he'll be hoping for some more as he's going to set a lap on the medium tyre. The first one too, it will be P3, so that's actually pretty good. A 16.4 on medium, so he's the only one who's set his lap on the mediums. We'll jump aboard once at Mofo, who's also on the mediums. He's shown some good pace in this tier, so hopefully he can get himself towards the front of the field in this session. As he's coming through the second sector split, 49.8, comes up purple. Don't know what to believe and what to not believe on this game, so we'll have to see what the final lap is. As we've got a fair few of these guys in laps actually. That third sector looks nice and clogged. A few guys will come set laps now. I think that was Lunacy and Mercedes who just came across the line there. Lunacy jumped to P5. Started this championship quite well. Always been in top few positions, so he'll be hoping to maintain that as Once it Mofo will jump to P3, so he becomes the lead medium runner with a 16.3, so that's a very respectable time on those yellow medium tyres, which would be probably about 7 to 8 tenths slower on one lap pace, but more ideal for your race, as the medium to hard is the preferred strategy. If you qualify on the softs, you're either going to have to do a 2-stop, which is very slow to get through people, or a soft to hard, which is going to absolutely shred your tyres. The softs will only last about 5, 6, 7 laps in the race, probably only 3 with optimal grip. So if these guys can get themselves into the top 10 on mediums, as a couple of these guys have so far, then that's a real plus. That's kind of really setting them up for a good race. So Once It Mofo, Suscuss and Lunacy as well in P6, who've set decent laps on the mediums, they'll be happy, and Ashima Chad joins them as well. So it's good to see a couple of those guys trying. We'll have to see what the rest of them can do. We've got 7 guys who haven't set laps yet, as F1 Boy goes very, very deep into the fast uphill chicane. That's his lap gone. He's on the soft tyre, so he'll have to dust him off and go again, as BMAC and MJ set some quick laps. BMAC earlier before, we didn't notice that. I think MJ just popped himself up there too, into P2 with 16.2, so looks like it'll be right in the bubble of the 15s. We'll have to see if anyone can break into that 15s lap time window, because that could be a pole position potentially if you can do that. We'll see what F1 Boy does. He'll peel into the pits. His teammate in the pits as well, probably gotten a lap. I think Shumatara's already done one. DBT, he's got traffic. I'm not sure if he's on a lap or if he's not. The P White kind of getting in the way there. A couple of difficult places to get out of the way. But yeah, you can really lose a lot of time stuck behind traffic, because the dirty air around here seems to be really, really poor. So any kind of traffic is going to negatively affect your lap time, which is not great. Looks like it's still pushing, still in hot lap mode for ERS, as MJ is coming up behind as well. I think MJ will probably peel into pits. DBT will as well, so they're done for that run. DBT currently sitting P10 on mediums. So yeah, another person who is giving that medium run a go in qualifying. I'm a little bit surprised Lunacy isn't a bit higher up, being a regular front runner on those medium tyres. It looks like he's actually coming out on the same set of mediums. Of course, these guys will only get one set of mediums for the qualifying. The hardest tyres you can pick is 1 medium and 3 softs. The game codes have taken out the hard tyre option for qualifying, so Lunacy's mediums won't be at the optimal, but he's got no other choice other than to put them on again, because he's probably done his research and knows that the medium is the tyre to qualify on. This is the kind of track where you'd rather be P11 on fresh mediums than P6, 7, 8, 9 on old softs, as Insulator sets a 15.9, so we've broken into the 15s, which is good. Some real pace being shown there. I think Drow might be the only one on a lap at the moment, because everyone else is on out laps, other than BMAC I think actually. We'll stay on board with Drow though, because he's ahead of BMAC on the track, as he gets a little bit of a tow there from one of the Williams guys. So Williams helping out their big brother Mercedes team. We'll have to see what Drow can do as he's come through the 3rd sector. Try and keep that car a bit nice and tight, sort of hit that apex on the exit. Really tricky braking zone. You really have to nail that turning point, because if you go early you're straight over the curb and either invalid or going straight on, and if you go too late then you're losing lap time and can possibly invalidate on the exit, as he'll go into P3, so that tow has helped him, and is currently in Mercedes 3-4, which is good to see. BMAX come into the pits, so he won't set his lap. Insulator will also come into the pits, so we'll jump on with Suscuss. Actually, I think we've already seen Suscuss, who haven't we seen yet. We'll jump aboard P White, who's currently slightly down on his best time on fresh soft. We're right on board through this section. Really fantastic flow around this track, particularly in the middle sector. Corners lead into each other really nicely, which is good. Makes it enjoyable to do hot laps around. As Shumatada just kind of gets out of the way there. He's done well enough. Shumatada out again on mediums, I think it was, yeah, so on the same set as P White invalidates, trying to ride too much of that inside curb. Traditionally you don't see many people take much of that curb because it can throw the car. So good to see P White being a bit brave, but it hasn't quite paid off this time. He is going to come into the pits Yeah, if you stop up your first soft lap, you don't really want to do a second one because that's kind of 20% of your tyres gone already. So yeah, if you're going to set a soft time, you really want to get it done on your first lap. We'll jump aboard Debut Carbon, who was driving slowly. He said he was up in his time, so I wonder if he's just been blocked by, who was that? Was that a Ferrari? He might have just been blocked because he was on a decent lap. He was up on his time. And Soskas does a 15.6, so 3/10 clear of Insulated at the moment, so we've definitely hit the 15s. So that's a good time there for Soskas. Currently P1 ahead of Insulated, ahead of BMAC, who is coming up for another lap, so we'll have to see if BMAC can jump himself up there. We seem to be catching a lot of cars coming into pits. Shumatava's gone around. I was going to say, let's see if we can find someone on a lap. Just got a couple of yellows around the track for people, just going around a little bit. Lunacy's coming again, so he's, not a great qualifying so far for Lunacy. A somewhat average lap on those mediums. Out in the same set, not feeling like he'll improve, so he's going to throw on softs and try and get up there. I think that's his only option, unless he wants to start right down the pack, which is good in terms of strategy choice, but poor because it's really difficult to get past people. So Lunacy really on the back foot. We'd expect to see him a lot higher up. Looks like there's a McLaren. I think it's a Shumatada's possibly gone around again on the back straight. If you get a really good run out of 7, 8, 9, you can make a move into the hairpin at the end of that back straight, but it's so hard to get a good run out of 7, 8, 9 because of the dirty air and just the high speed of it. So it's a potential overtaking spot. We might see a couple of dive bombs in the race. 7, 8 here, and 9, which is possibly flat. I think if you're really brave, you can take it flat. Yes, this is the corner I'm talking about. You could see a few dives into the hairpin. It's the hardest braking zone on the track, so we'll have to see what the drivers can do in the race, but we'll stay on board with DBT for the rest of this lap. Come through the final sector now. Get that turn-in point. That's really nice, so he's done that quite well. These little corners, probably some of my least favourite corners in the calendar, actually. Suscas retired. Is that in the pits? DBT goes P4, which is great. I don't see any yellow flags on track, so Suscas obviously doesn't think he can improve unless he's just trying to save some tyres for the race. So that's interesting, but it's a little bit puzzling because there's still 4.5 minutes left, so it's time to go out and do another run. He's made the choice to not come out, as BMAC will stay on board and see if he can challenge for pole. He's 2.5 tenths up on his time actually, so this will put him probably around the P3, P2 range, once he can find a lot more time in his third sector and possibly challenge Suscas. A few more yellows around the track, not to worry about. Game's pretty trigger happy on the yellows in qualifying, so we won't worry about those. As BMAC comes through the final few corners, he's taken that quite nicely. A bit sliding on the exit, but you see most people do that as he's run out of ERS, but he'll come across the line. It'll be P3 with the 7.99, 15.799, so 3/10 improvement just behind MJ, so that's a good lap there. He'll be pushing for time to get another run in, so that might do him. We'll have to see. He's not pushing for another lap, so that will be him done for now. So Insulator's about to set a lap as Artie Cheng's in the racing point has jumped into P4 as well for 15.8. So a lot of these guys finding some real time, which is good to see. I want to see some real competitive times. I think Shumatada driving slowly again. Who haven't we ridden on board with? We'll jump on board with Lunacy actually, because he should be right in that top 5 fight. But really struggling qualifying so far, not setting a good medium lap, and now forced to go onto those softs, which is not optimal. We might get a tiny tow from his teammate, but probably not because he's too far away on us. Cook, who's currently in P13. He's down in his best times. This has been, I don't think he's pushing. I think he's just invalidated as well anyway. So he's going to have to go for another lap. So Lunacy is really under pressure at the moment. It'd be interesting to see where he can launch himself in the race. If he stays down here, it looks like he will go again. So we'll jump off board. We haven't seen many of these cars off board. We've got 2 Ferraris. Looks like Honest Cook's going to settle out right behind Lunacy as well. So he'll pinch a little bit of tow, but he'll probably also lose a fair bit of time in that middle sector with the dirty air. But we'll have to see what both Ferraris can do. Currently both out of the points as they were on Sunday in the actual F1 race. Love to see what these two can pull out of their magic bag of tricks. Lunacy's only slightly up in the first sector. Only really one braking zone and 3 corners, so not the worst place to not be up too much, but the middle sector and the last sector is where you're really going to find the time on the softer tyres. Just have to see what he can whip up as he takes a fairly nice line through there. We've got a few yellows around the track. Again, it's just slow cars. But yeah, Lunacy and Honest Crook still following right behind, so these two quite close together. So Lunacy's just about 2 tenths up on his time. We'll jump aboard for the final sector, as this is really important. Honest Crook, I feel like Honest Crook's done just about faster lap than Lunacy here actually, so maybe this isn't, maybe it's just a weak track for Lunacy, but we'll have to wait and see where he can put himself, as he's a little bit shaky through that final chicane, but not too bad. Hugs that curb a lot in the final corner, runs the line. It'll be a P7 as his teammate goes P3, so Honest Crook making the most of that toe and really jumping himself. P8 for Lunacy after his teammate goes across. So if Lunacy can drop a few positions to P11, P12, and that's actually not going to be too bad. But yeah, P8 for Lunacy will do him for now. He won't get another lap in, so that will be it. We haven't seen IG Flow yet this session. We've got his and Valdez's laps, so we'll leave him for now. He might have time to set another one. We haven't seen much of X-Mort either, who's coming out of the pits now for some reason. No, he's not, that's just a Mercedes. Drow's coming out of the pits, that's interesting. Shumatata is on the track, but again, actually I think he's pushing this time, so we'll stay on board. Worth mentioning, F1 Boy hasn't set a proper lap either, so he's on the back foot. As I say that, he comes across the line to jump to P10, so that's not a bad spot. If he drops one more, then he'll be in that magical P11. So the Shumatata can do. Another driver who's shown some real promise in the early stages of this season. Yeah, we'll have to see where he can launch himself in this qualifying session. Coming through the final sector now. Keep it nice and tight, try and get in the power as early as possible, master that turning point. He might have, from my point of view, he might have backed out slightly. Had to kind of take a second bite at that, but he's done that fairly well by the looks of things, and will come around the final corner and set a time good enough for P14. So decent lap at the end of the session there, 6/10 improvement, but not enough for the top 10. Once Mofo's on a lap, who's in front of him? Looks like a Red Bull. We'll see if we can find who that is. It's Debris Carbon, so he's right at the bottom now. He's going to be wanting to find some improvement. Comes across the line, he'll jump himself to P17. Behind him, I think it's Ninja Penguin, who we also haven't seen his qualifying yet. So yeah, race winner from round 1. So he had an average race last week, sorry, 2 weeks ago from memory as well. We'll have to see where he can put himself on his final lap. He hasn't improved, so 17.7, so he's made a mistake somewhere, unless he's just got not much pace around here. So it'll be P20 and last for Ninja Penguin. We'll have to see how far up he can go, as Macedonian sets a lap on the mediums, good enough for P14, so that yeah, he hasn't bothered with the soft run yet. I think Artie Cheng's will be the last person to set a lap, but it doesn't look like he's pushing his 15 seconds down this time, so that'll be it for quali. Artie Cheng's actually has wind damage there, so I wonder how he's picked that up. But yeah, that'll be quali done. It'll be Suscast from Installator from Honest Crook. Honest Crook doing quite well. Get himself into a good position. He's been kind of on the back foot this season, as we've just watched Artie Cheng's put it in the pit wall. I would advise against that, not just to you but to everyone. Try not to put it in the pit wall, because that's an embarrassing crash in the race. But yeah, MJ, BMAC, Artie will be P4 to 6. DBT, Lunacy, Trout, and F1 Boy will round out the top 10. All of those guys setting their best laps. Is it their best laps? It is their best laps on the soft tyre. DBT 3-lap old, Lunacy and Artie 2-lap old as Installator. So their tyres will be a little bit more worn than some of the guys around him. So possibly disadvantage for the race, but it's what it is. We've got Dan the Racer, Candy Cane, One Sink Mofo, Macedonian, Ashina Matata, IG Flow, Debris Carbon, X-Mort, P Wide Right, who looks like he's still on the lap actually, and Ninja Penguin. The grid, unless P Wide Right can do something magical in this last sector. I didn't catch whether it was up in his time, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, he'll be the last one to set a lap time. that bottom 10 there, he'll come into the pits actually, that bottom 10, a variety of tyres there, some soft, some mediums, so I assume they'll all put on the mediums, possibly even the hards to start the race. So we'll have to see, yeah, what they choose in the lead up to the race. But yeah, that is your order for Spanish Grand Prix. A track where track position is king, but soft tyres are not. So it's going to be quite an interesting race, actually, because yeah, those front guys on the softs, they're going to have the track position, but behind them, they're going to really struggle with tyre wear in both stints. So it'll be, yeah, an interesting race actually. As just looking here, the top 7 are all different constructors as well, which is a good thing. Pole just 0.010 separating P1 and P2, so that's, yeah, good close pace there. Geez, got some really close times down here, from P11 to P15, all within 700ths of each other, all the way down to P16 within a second. So that shows how good the pace is, how close this tier is, which is really good for the racing. And yeah, other than a couple of outliers, the rest of the field is just as close. So this should be a cracking race. We'll have to see what these guys can whip up. Just a couple of quicker guys a bit further down the order than they would have liked, so we'll have to see what they can, yeah, conjure up in this race. But the strategy will be interesting. It looks like it's nice and sunny for the race as well, so weather will not play a part by the looks of things, so it should be a fairly straightforward race in terms of the weather department, which is good, because it lets these guys, yeah, really try and make the most of the strategies they've chosen, as we just wait for them all to pick their tyres, their fuel. It's another thing you can change. You can probably underfuel the car slightly, unless you really want to push it. So if anyone in the top 10 is going to try and two-stop it, then you might slightly overfuel the car so you can really push. Otherwise, yeah, there's a couple of places on the track you can really save fuel, so we'll have to see, yeah, if anyone starts underfueled. But looks like these guys are just about done, and we will start the formation lap. There we go. So it is a Haas ahead of an Alfa, ahead of a Ferrari for the start of the race, and the Mercedes of MJ, they'll occupy the first 2 rows. They'll have the best run into turn 1, which is quite long actually, so a good start here can really launch you up the grid quickly. Whoa, Insulator just zoinked off the screen for lag, so let's hope that, yeah, settles itself down. Looks like he might have actually left. His car's ghosted, so he might be in the process of lagging out, which is a real shame if that is the case. Looks like, I'm not sure if that car's ghosted or not. It kind of looks like it is. So let's hope Insulator gets back in, because he had really similar pace to Saskas. Yeah, looks like he's lagged out. So hopefully he's got his speed right and get back into this race. But yeah, that will be interesting heading into turn 1 if he's still, yeah, on the track. I think ghosting is on, so he shouldn't cause incidents, but that car, yeah, could be quite distracting for some drivers as they try and hit their braking points. I was saying about turn 1, a good start can really rocket you up, but on the other hand, a bad start can really drop you a lot of positions because the run is so long. I think it's, I'm not sure if it is the longest run to turn 1 or one of the longest runs. So the start's going to be really important, really setting up your race, because you really want to be ahead of as many cars as possible into turn 1. We'll have to see if these guys can keep it clean. It is quite a difficult couple of corners as well, because they are 4th, 5th, 6th gear corners. So you want to be carrying as much speed as possible, and yeah, running side by side at that kind of speed can be deadly. So it is really a fine line between pushing hard and gaining that position, but then also just being smart as we get the predicted pit stop strategy. So a soft, medium, medium, or a soft, medium, hard. I doubt anyone's going to do the latter. Soft, medium, medium, possibly, but we saw in the tier 3 race, as well as, yeah, from past experience here, that the two-stop, it's a bit slow. You just can't get past the traffic because it's so hard to overtake, and the dirty air's bad. So I doubt most of these guys will really do that strat. We'll pull up the tyres actually, because you haven't run through that yet. So yeah, as expected, top 10 are on softs they qualified on, and every single person behind from P11 down will be on the mediums. So they'll have the better strategy, but we'll have to see if the soft guys can make the most of those tyres while they still have grip for the first 3 or 4 laps. As looks like we're just about ready to go. Get a nice camera shot there. I think Insulator is still ghosted, but we have 5 red lights, fairly long wait, and down the race has a drive-through penalty already from P11, so that's a shame for the Racing Point driver, but it looks fairly clean. This is a fantastic camera shot. We can see all of the action. As you've got nearly 3 wide down there, it looks like Installator's he's ghosting, which is a good thing. That would have caused a major pile up. There's a Racing Point get caught up in the middle there, and we've got a Mercedes wide. I think that's MJ. From the second row, he's dropped a lot of positions down to P8, as I think the other Mercedes is wide as well, but it is Suscuss with the best start. Honest Cook jumping the ghosted car of Installator. Lunacy right behind as well, made up a position. DVT and Artie Cheng's going side by side. We'll see, DVT makes a really strong move across and cuts Artie Cheng's off. We're lucky that Artie Cheng's was aware of that, as Lunacy's right the tail as well. He might even throw it down the inside. No, not quite. Smart move there, not really an overtaking spot. Looks fairly clean for the rest of the grid, with the exception of Ontic Mofo, I think, has dropped a lot of positions. We'll stay away from Installator because the ghost car doesn't look very good. As Installator... Oh, someone straight lined. Who's that? Is that Drow? Yeah, it's Drow. He's gone very, very wide on the exit there, and he's gone into... I'm not sure if he's gone into the wall or just straight into the gravel. Behind him, Candy Cane also was involved in an incident, and I was about to say Ontic Mofo looks like he's lost a lot of positions as well. We've got a bit of fighting around the field though. Every single car, with the exception of the bottom 2, within 6, 7, 8 tenths of the car in front. So it's a really train for the start of the race, but it is Suscuss who will lead them away. We'll put up the position change. Biggest jumper at the moment is Macedonian in the other half. He's jumped 7 positions off the start. Biggest loser, other than Drow with that off, is Installator, who is lagged out, so we don't have to worry about him. Drow's lost 3 positions up the top as well. F1 Boys lost 1. MJ's lost 5. So both Mercedes getting really poor starts. As our leaderboard's just lagging a little bit, so don't worry about that too much. Probably not the best time to run through the position changes actually. We'll do that in a couple laps time when that sorts itself out, because Drow is definitely not leading the race. That should filter itself down. BMAX also made a decent start up into, should be P3, so good start there from the Red Bull driver after a couple of frustrating races where he's had some good pace but hasn't really been able to capitalise on it. He's got yellows in Sector 2, that looks like a Williams. I think it's F1 Boy. It is F1 Boy. He's gone round at the fast uphill chicane, and Drow's going to go down the inside. As you've got, just the yellow flags for that incident. Looks like Ashuna Matata is making some moves as well. Was that a bit of front wing on the track there? I couldn't quite see. Let's hope it wasn't. But this midfield still nice and close together. As the leaderboard starting to spaz out again, which is quite annoying. I think that's correct though, actually. We've got side by side action. Lucy's in the pits. Has he got damage? He might have damage, because that's a really early pit stop, unless he's just trying to get out of the way of the traffic. Because Lunacy could go medium to the end of the race now. I'm not sure if we're quite making on hards. He's getting a new front wing, so Lunacy's been involved in the incident as well. Drow set the fastest lap of the race, trying to catch back up to the pack. So poor start for Lunacy in the end. As it looks like Davey Carbon's gone. No, it's a McLaren. DBT's gone round at the first corner. I thought it might have been Davey Carbon. He's reset the track, which is a bit of a no-no, but he's dropped right to the back, so it doesn't matter so much anyway. Candy Cane and Lunacy are both pit for hards as well, by the way. Who else did I say? Davey Carbon. He looks okay, so I think it was just DVT. I'm not sure if he made contact with someone or if he just dropped it, but that's a real shame. Something worth mentioning as well, just the tyres. Macedonian in P5 on the medium tyres, so he's probably in about a lap time. He's going to have faster tyres than the soft runs. As Honest and BMAC are going side by side. Honest defends the inside and squeezes BMAC out, so good defence there from the Ferrari driver. Hanging on, but this fighting here has allowed Suscuss to get a 2.5 second lead already, so that's massive. So if Suscuss can hang on to the tyres and put the hards on, then he's going to be really close to, really hard to chase down at the end of the race. If he two-stops though, that's a different story. It'll be interesting to see how long these guys will go onto the soft tyres, as we'll keep an eye on Lunacy and Candy Cane's tyres as the race goes on, because they will do almost the entire race on those hard tyres. This BMAC will go down the inside of Honest Cook with DRS open, and he'll make that move as... Oh, Suscuss has lost it! Out of the lead of the race! Suscuss is around, he hasn't got damage, so he's just dropped on the curb, but out of P1. I was just complimenting on how good a start he got and how he was in a really strong position with that gap already, but now that's all gone out the window. He's now P12 and still dropping on old soft, so now he's not just got the wrong tyre on from the start of the race, but he's also not got the track position. So that's massive for Suscuss, who's been pushed out wide by multiple drivers. He's now in P14. So early mistake there from our lead driver, and his tyres going to be nice and hot. Drow trying to make a move as well. So that's massive. That promotes BMAC into the lead and Honest Cook into second, Macedonian into third on those medium tyres. So he's managed to get past Artie in the racing point. As Honest Cook runs really wide, so Macedonian might throw the nose in, not quite, but wow, that's really big. We've seen, yeah, a couple of little incidents from drivers, and then Suscast just making a horrible mistake at the opening stages of the race, putting it on the curb and taking her round. So that's a real shame, but his teammate's going to try and pick up the pieces here. He's got a really good run on Honest Cook actually. Honest Cook getting nice and loose off the curb. He's going to throw it into overtake. Honest Cook also an overtake. We'll go off board, see who can, yeah, outdrag the other one, who's got the better straight line speed. Looks like Honest Cook's kind of going to let Macedonian go. I think he kind of backed off a little bit early there, knowing that the position was lost. And Suscast gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane just to rub more salt into the wounds. So this race has gone from looking fantastic to looking absolutely miserable already for Suscast. But only lap 5, plenty can happen. We could get a couple of safety cars, and it could be right back in that fight. We'll have to, yeah, see how he can recover, as he's now dropped, to P18 in the pits, and possibly P19. I think he'll drop to P19 as well. So that's a real shame. This midfield fight as well, looking real tasty. A bit of a debut carbon train. Got a lot of guys right behind the debut carbon on the medium tyres. Most of the train has the mediums, with the exception of Insulator, who, I wonder if he's back in the session. I think he might be back in the session, which is a good thing. But yeah, off the start, yeah, he's dropped a lot of positions. It looks like the Renaults are having a bit of a fight, a bit of a multi-2-1. That's going to land into Penguin. Always sticks the nose and he gets the door closed on him. Doesn't look like he got damaged, but yeah, aggressive there from PY. I wonder if he just didn't quite notice him with his teammate going past. But yeah, Renault is looking nice and close on track again, as they have in multiple races this season already. So Renault, yeah, fighting hard with each other, but they got to be careful to not, yeah, ruin each other's races, because that's constructors' points down the drain. But looks like they're settled now in P11 and 12. Lost a bit of time to Exmoor, as MJ and Artie Cheng's up here are going side by side. Looks like MJ's made the move into P4, past the second-hand Mercedes of Artie Cheng's. Ashuna Matata and debut carbon as well. Looks like Ashuna Matata's made his way through on debut carbon, who looks to be struggling a bit on pace. Exmoor is going to get pushed out by Installator. So Installator making the most of that. He's definitely in control now, which is good. And Exmoor might lose out again to One Stick Mofo, who throws the nose in there. That's a dive bomb, but he's going to make it stick. Looks like that was actually pretty clean there, but it's not done. Exmoor down the inside, trying to squeeze him out. Still side by side. Now this isn't a place you normally go side by side. Exmoor has to back off. One Stick Mofo gets the run out of the corner as Installator head goes wide. That might allow One Stick Mofo to turn defense into attack. We'll jump on board with him, and he's really close. But he's not really going to be able to make a move, because Installator will get DRS as well from the cars in front. On those soft tyres as well, worth remembering, so they're going to be nice and cooked by lap 6. We should see these soft guys in the next 1 or 2 laps. Looks like P White's gone rounds, has he? P White's been pushed out, so I'm not sure if he's lost on traction or if he's gotten a little bit of contact there. But yeah, he's lost out a lot of positions now. He was running right behind his teammate as IG Flow and Artie Chengs and MJ swap positions due to pit stop. So Honest Cook and Artie Chengs will be the first guys into the pits. We jump on board here with trying to catch the cars on the track. So David Carbon is going to let Installator go, so not really fighting it. One Stick Mofo will probably dive him. No, not quite. Not quite close enough. As Honest Cook and Artie Chengs have gone for a medium, so they're committing to the 2-stop. We're going to have to watch their progress, because they are going to have quicker tyres, but yeah, they've got a lot of ground to catch up, as Debut Carbon, One Stick Mofo weaving all over the place. Debut Carbon really active on the defence there, but he's gone a bit deep, and that's going to allow One Stick Mofo to have a look around the outside. Can he get it stuck? He's going to hold it there, and he's done quite well. He should get the run. He does get the run. So Debut Carbon putting up some good defence, but not quite as enough, as One Stick Mofo probably will pick up a warning there for cutting the track. Haven't seen too many time penalties pop up yet, which is good to see. These guys whirl around turn 9 and into the DRS zone. No one's close enough to make a move yet. Debut Carbon's dropped a second already, so Debut Carbon looks like he's really struggling for pace. A couple of guys getting penalties now. Debut Carbon, what's he on? He's on mediums as well, so that's not a promising sign. Lucy also gets a penalty, so that's not going to help his comeback drive on the hard tyres in the traffic. It's up the front, the gaps have kind of separated a bit. We've got 2 seconds from P1 to 2, 1.4 from P2 to 3, and nearly 2 from P3 to 4. IG Flow also making up good positions. We'll jump onto the position change now. So Macedonian up 13 into the lead of the race, so he's managed to get past BMAC somewhere as well. We've missed that one. IG flew up 12. Some guys really jumped in some major positions. Some guys did pit for the softer tyres, but still that's a lot of positions gained. Ninja Penguin also up 10. X-Mort and JB Carbon up 9 so far. But yeah, what a crazy start to the race. Been talking non-stop just because there's been so much on track. So we could take a little bit of a breather now, as it looks like they're starting to settle in a little bit. We might see X-Mort try and make a move with JB Carbon as well, who is starting to really struggle. Down the field looks like Drow. I wonder if he's made a mistake, because he's just dropped a couple of positions as well. Through turn 3. JB Carbon's not going to be close enough to X-Mort. Ninja Penguin starting right from the back. He's now into P10, so it's been a good start from Ninja Penguin. He's just trying to claw back into the points. These three not close enough to make a move, really. MJ's actually caught BMAC, so MJ looks like he's the quickest on these soft tyres at the moment. BMAC comes in and MJ will follow him. So that will promote IG into P2. What will Insulator do? Will he come in as well? He will come in. So all the soft runners have now pit. It's quite interesting, a fair variety on strategy actually, as BMAC gets a wing change. Oh wow, so that's pretty big as well. Yeah, because he was in that fight for effectively the lead, so I wonder if him and Macedonian had a bit of coming together while they were having a fight. But BMAC put hards on as opposed to MJ's mediums. Insulator came in for hards as well, so both Racing Points will jump positions because of that, and Lunacy will as well, as Racing Points are going to go side by side nearly. ID Cheng's not close enough to really make a move down the race, and doesn't look like he's going to give it up. So Racing Point, another team who look like they're going to fight each other quite hard, and let's hope that doesn't end in tears. But yeah, it's good to see a variety of strategies. We've got BMAC in P10 on the hard tyres, and we've got MJ and RD Cheng's have picked hard tyres down the racer in the middle. He started on those mediums. And Lunacy pitting lap 2 for hards, Insulator on hards, and then the bottom 4 all on hards as well. Then F1 Boy pitting on mediums. So a variety of one-stop and two-stop strategies, which is good. I do feel like the one-stoppers are going to end up better off. But yeah, you never know with safety cars and all that stuff. See if anyone has some mega pace to close the gaps up, as it looks like. MJ and BMAC can get nice and close as well. MJ on fresh mediums as opposed to BMAC's fresh hards. So MJ's going to want to make this move so he doesn't lose time in the dirty air of BMAC. So he's going to have to get it done the next lap or two to make the two-stop work, because he needs to gap him enough to pit and catch back up again in the last stint. As it looks like once at Murphy and Shimatada going side by side in the first corner. A little bit of wheel banging there. No love lost between these two. I think they've had a couple of coming togethers on track in terms of close battles, but once at Murphy will take the cookies on this one and get the position done. 6-second gap up front as well is worth knowing. It looks like changing down the race. They're also going side by side, the Racing Point duo. Shocking camera angle there. So I just got that move done. So down the race, another guy who looks like he's not quite got the pace of some of the guys around him who have pit for fresh mediums. Those old mediums will start to be feeling it a bit. In terms of when they will pit, the guys who haven't yet, so the top 8 plus down the racer, you'd expect them to pit around about lap 13, 14. Any more than that and you're going to lose too much time on the mediums and possibly start to not really make the most of that hard stint afterwards. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. We'll jump aboard with Ninja Penguin as he's chasing down David Carbon. Ari in the chat, where's tier 5? It should be up on the Race Spec channel, but I do know that Race Spec's quite short on commentators at the moment, so it may or may not be streamed, but go check out the Race Spec YouTube channel and have a look there, as it will be there if it's anywhere, as David Carbon's going to lose that to Ninja Penguin into turn 1. He's going to leave plenty of room, which is good racing, but yeah, David Carbon doesn't have much to fight with. He actually gets a decent run out of there, but I don't think he's close enough. We might have to watch out for X-Mort as well behind, who might make the most of it. Captino, yes, I can put time from leader. That's actually a pretty good idea. We've got yellows. What's that for? I think it's MJ. Yeah, MJ's gone round, so he was in that fight as well for top 5 spots, so that's big for MJ. So we've seen a lot of these quick guys really starting to make mistakes. What we're doing in for the leaders, weren't we? There you go. So a pit stop is around about 20 seconds. As someone else has gone around. Who's that? Is that X-Mort? X-Mort's gone around as well, so lots of contenders for top 5s and points making mistakes or getting into incidents, so that's another one there, 2 in a row. as was someone else going slowly in front of him, I'm not too sure. Insulated will get X-Mort as well, so not great there for X-Mort, who put on mediums on lap 1. So all these guys making mistakes. But yeah, in terms of strategy, 20 seconds for a pit stop, that's a pretty good estimate. So if Macedonian pits now, he'd come out around about the P6, P7, but it's probably a lap or two too early to pit. Yeah, these top 7 guys, they're going to have to... Oh, we've got someone else around, we'll look to that first. Oh, this F1 boy, he's gone. Round has drought. No, I think it's just F1 boy dropping it on the curb. So a couple of guys making some mistakes. Got a nice little battle pack here for the bottom placings on one-stop strategies. But yeah, I was about to say as well, this mid-pack here, this looks like a nice Spidey battle. These top 7 are not going to want to get themselves involved in that because they'll lose too much time to the guys they're really fighting. So it's important for the top 7 to be watching their gaps to find the optimal time to pit. Macedonian will he'll hopefully try and put himself in between David Carbon and P. White, but the guys behind him, they're going to be right in the thick of this tasty little battle here. So it'll be interesting to see with the pit stops where these guys will slot in because they're not quite clear enough to come in and get themselves ahead of the midfield. So that's going to be quite interesting. Thanks for letting me know to check the gaps to leaders because that is possibly a really important factor for these guys. It looks like Macedonian's now getting a nice little gap there. 4 seconds between David Carbon and P. Wild to right. So Macedonian might come into the next lap or two if he somehow knows that gap is there. If you're listening to the stream, mate, you've got about a 4-second gap you might slot yourself into. So that's probably the best you're going to get. IG Flow on the other hand is probably going to end up behind a couple of cars and everyone else behind IG Flow likewise, as Lunacy's all over the back of Dan the Racer, who's really struggling. He hasn't pit yet, so his medium's been nice and worn. But he gets a really good run out of the final corner actually, so that's probably going to save him this lap. Lunacy quite frustrated. He seems to overtake, so he might send it. He's getting really close. Look at that overspeed, that's incredible. He's going to send it. That's a fantastic move. He gets it stopped, but not quite enough. We get another shocking camera angle, unfortunately. We're just right on board. That's the best we can do, as Lunacy's got that move done. Lucy will hang on to that. I think Honest Cook just got P. White right as well. So Honest Cook has stopped, P. White hasn't. So those fresh mediums really starting to come into play, but Honest Cook will also have to make another pit stop. So he's now, pretty much in an even fight with these guys. Qualified on the second row, Honest Cook. So he's down a couple of positions, but trying that 2-stop strategy to see if he can improve on his second row. It's going to be difficult because he's effectively 22 seconds off the lead. But yeah, he's now coming right into that gap where Macedonian would come out. Because that gap of 20 seconds is not quite there. So RG Flow's going to be the first one to bite. He will come into the pits to put on the hard. So lap 13, end of lap 13, that's not a bad time. Pit window is saying mediums. I don't think it will be mediums. It should be hard tyres. Oh, it is more mediums. Wow. I wonder if that's a little bit of a strategy choice because he's going to be able to put on fresh softs at the end of the race. But that's really interesting. If you start on the mediums, you'll be wanting to put the hards on, I'm sure. So that's very questionable from IG Flow. He's going to come out right near Lunacy, just in front of him, but he's going to have to make another stop, whereas Lunacy may be able to get to the end. Suscuts puts the fastest lap in of the race so far, but Yellow's in sector 3. That might be Candy Cane. We haven't mentioned him too much this race. Somewhat quiet race so far, but looks like he's he's struggling a little bit for general pace. Making a couple of mistakes there. But yeah, that's really questionable there from IG Flow, putting on those medium tyres again. Surely that's just negated the start on the mediums. If we're going to start on mediums, just go to the hards. But I'm not sure, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he's got some mega pace to unlock. But yeah, I still don't personally agree. Captain Kino, I think that is dumb. What's that in reference to, mate? Let me know. If it's about the 2-stop mediums to mediums, then possibly, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Cheers guys for tuning in. If you've got any comments, any questions you want to ask me, or anything you want to see in terms of stats or whatever, the display, just let me know and I will be happy to help you out. Also get some predictions in for the race because we've got a variety of strategies and things that could play out quite interestingly, as Ninja Penguin and David Carbon will come to the pits as will Dan the Racer. So second round of stoppers, looks like Ninja Penguin and David Carbon have put the hards on. We've got more yellows. I think I saw some yellows in sector 1, but looks like the car is moving now. So just a local yellow. But yeah, most of these guys, those 3 who did pit, have all put on the hards, so they're doing the one-stop strategy. they're a bit behind IG Flow, but IG Flow is going to have to make another pit stop. Where to watch the Tier 5 stream? It should be on the Race Spec channel. I can check quickly for you if it is, and point you in the direction of that. I'll just get it loaded up on my phone and we'll have a quick look, because yes, it is happening right now as well. I'll let you know when I find that, if indeed I do find that. But yeah, anyway, onto this race, got more yellows. That looks like another Mercedes. I think it's drew out again. Yeah, struggling on the hard tyres. I think he's done a couple of preparatory donuts. Not too much to celebrate though yet for the Mercedes boys. Down in P18 and P19 after some decent qualifyings. But yeah, not the race they would have wanted, as the top three have now pitched. So Macedonian will come back out on track. Where's he come out? He's going to be behind Honest Crook as Lucy sets the fastest lap of the race. His teammate Honest Crook will inherit the lead of the race, but we'll have to make another stop still. BMAC will come out P3. Installator will jump a few positions due to some more guys pitting. One Tick Mofo, Matata and Xmort will all come in for hard tyres. We'll just wait for Xmort's pit stop thing to light up. We've got more yellows. I think that's Jal again. His tyres will be nice and hot. Might be worth throwing on some fresh ones, because yeah, that tyre looks like it's not quite working. So we've got a nice little tasty battle here for P4. Artie Chang's P White, who still hasn't pit, so he's the last one on mediums to not pit. So he might be holding out for a safety car or something, because he will definitely not have optimal grip. RG Flow on those fresh mediums will be probably the quickest guy on the track at the moment, with everyone else being on hard tyres. Other than maybe Candy Cane, who's also put on fresh mediums, he'll make a move. P White defends it. RG Flow will dive it down the inside. He's absolutely sent it, just overcooked it, and P White will get a bit of a switchback going there and get that back and get a couple more penalties. We'll check those towards the end of the race. Lucy's worked himself back up in the P7. Yeah, still too many laps for penalties really to be considered. We'll do that in the last 5 laps or so. Did Lucy just run to the back of RG Flow? It might have been a little tap, but yeah, look at the grip he's got. Even though he probably shouldn't have the best grip on older hards compared to RG Flow's newer mediums, he should. Yeah, he's lost the battle out first corner, so Lucy will throw it down the inside. RG Flow has to concede. Yeah, he gets squeezed out, as we've also missed a move to the lead. Honest Crook managing to drop behind Macedonian just at the same time that was happening. So Honest Crook on those mediums, which are now 9 laps old, probably sitting around the 30% mark. So not optimal, but he's going to have to do a few more laps to make his 2-stop strat work. He could pit for mediums again in probably 3 or 4 laps time, or he could try and stretch them out for another 8 or so and put on softs, but that's probably going to be a real stretch. I'll just flick some intervals back on so we can see where the close battles are. Looks like Lunacy, IG Flow still close together. Lunacy's going to make a move on P White. P White's not really going to fight it. Well, he kind of really still tries to break late. We're getting some shocking camera angles for these battles, which is unfortunate. We'll just have to ride on board. P White, yeah, loses the position to Lunacy. IG Flow can't quite capitalise just yet, but we might see him make a move into turn 1. If Ari is still watching in the chat, I'm trying to track down Tier 5, but I can't quite find it. So maybe there's no stream up at the moment. We'll have to, yeah, see Macedonian sets the quickest lap of the race on those fresh hards. Yeah, it looks like I can't get the run of P White. He's actually going to run Lucy. He might throw it down the inside. Lucy defends it late, but before the braking zone, so that's okay there. I'm just checking the Race Spec channel now. Maybe there's no stream for Tier 5. I know we're really short on commentators, so they might have been the ones who've lost out this week, which is unfortunate, but there might be a couple of guys in the actual race streaming it if you want to check out the results. I know a few guys in there do stream their point of view for the races, but it's not quite the same as a stream. Maybe put a shout out there if anyone does want to commentate for Race Spec, then just let us know. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the Tier 5 stream. Personally, I'd rather stick with Tier 4 because this has been a cracking race. But yeah, I know there's multiple Race Spec races going on at the moment, which is fantastic to see. So many drivers getting involved in Race Spec, which is an absolutely massive league. But yeah, got some really good quality drivers and some really good racing on many nights of the week. So Tier 4 here is absolutely no exception, as One Stick Mofo will pick up a 3-second time penalty. Lunacy's in the pits again, so he's decided He doesn't want to go to the end on those hards. IG Flow nearly runs to the back of P White trying to make that move, but he's got so much overspeed. P White's not going to fight it, or he's in overtake, but that move was well and truly done too early for Pete White to really, fight that back. So Lunacy's probably going to put on mediums he has. So Lunacy's deciding his hards probably won't make it, which is fair enough, and he's probably a bit sick of sliding around on those old hard tyres. So it'll be fresh mediums for Lunacy. If we get a safety car now, then that can make things quite interesting. Looks like DBT and Davey Carbon have gone. Oh, Davey Carbon's in the wall. DBT was driving slowly. They probably have it coming together. We didn't quite catch what happened there, but my guess is they've given each other a touch, and Davey Carbon's going to lose that. He's going to have to let the traffic go. Even though ghosting's on, it's still the right thing to do to let him go, because ghosted cars are very annoying when you're trying to drive. So good sponsorship there from Davey Carbon, but he's going to be very frustrated. Has he got damage? Not visually, so that's a good thing at least, but that's a lot of drop positions for Davey Carbon, who's probably going to be on the fringes of the points. DBT looks like he's escaped wind damage too. So Insulator wants it Mofo having a bit of a scuffle. Insulator making the move ahead of the two Renaults who are once again on track next to each other, so hopefully they can keep themselves out of trouble. P White's still out on track on this medium, so very, very, very adventurous from P White. He's dropped a pit stop work to his teammate and the guys around him, so those mediums will be far from optimal. Insulator and Once It Mofo will exchange positions once again, so that looks like it's going to be a tasty little fight. Insulator pitting very early, Once It Mofo a lot more recently, so Mofo should have the better tyres towards the end of the race, but Insulator looks like he's not wanting to give that up easily. I'm not too sure why P White's still out, actually. He's probably just hanging on for the hope of the safety car. He's going to have to do probably another 5 laps to go into softs, at least 5 laps, maybe 6 or 7. And I don't really see how that's possible in the mediums. I'd love to see what the tyre wear is. So you've got more yellows, and that was either a Williams or a Mercedes, either Exmore or Drow in the first sector, but that didn't last long, so maybe just a little moment from one of them. Yeah, lots of things happening at the moment. We'll jump on board with BMAC, who's trying to hunt down Honest Crook. Haven't really mentioned BMAC too much. He was the beneficiary of a bit of a lag out. Oh, Honest Crook's going to come to the pits, so he's called it now. He's going to put on some fresh mediums, so that will promote BMAC into P2. So Lunacy and Shimatara will jump to that, having a bit of a scuffle. Lunacy gets that position easy. Fresh mediums, Lunacy will probably be the quickest guy on track. As I say, that Once It Mofo sets the quickest lap actually, so Once It Mofo got plenty of pace on those fairly new hards. So P White finally comes into the pits. What's he going to put on? If it's softs, I'm not sure if they'll go to the end. He could possibly do double soft, but he has gone to soft. So P White with a very interesting strategy. If he can get those 13 laps, then he deserves a gold medal, because that is going to be almost impossible. So he might have to pit a second time. He was probably, I think what's happened here is he was holding out for a safety car and it just hasn't come. So P White taking a gamble, which is very, very brave, but it not quite paying off, as gambles sometimes don't. So that's a shame there for P White, who was on the fringe of the top 10, probably even a bit further up. But yeah, just trying to be adventurous, but it hasn't quite paid off, which is a shame. But that's racing sometimes, like Lunacy and DBT going side by side through here. You don't usually go side by side. DBT goes deep, Lunacy will get, look at that traction, that's absolutely amazing. You just got so much grip out of there on those fresh mediums. So Lunacy back into P10 and in the points. So it is not quite progress from where he started. By the end of the race, he's got about 3 seconds ahead. He'll get at least to the point where he started. I think it was P8, as he goes very wide there. He's lost a bit of time, but he's able to recover it. So P10 at the moment for Lunacy. Currently I think he's 2 spots down on his starting position. Yeah, so he's going to need to find a couple more spots to have progress in the race. As Ali Chang's also on that 2-slot strategy, he's decided to call it now, so he'll be able to push the rest of the race. Where will he come out? He's going to come out right next to DBT, puts the overtake on. Yeah. So he's just gotten out ahead, which is important for DBT. Not so great for Artie Cheng, who's going to have to waste a little bit of time trying to get these guys. But that's okay, he'll have the grip on DBT. 17 lap old hards versus brand new mediums. Artie Cheng should get that move done fairly easily. It's just a matter of whether he can get Lunacy and Honest Crook ahead, who have also got fresh mediums. Honest Crook's only let's try and speak English. Currently hunting down Suscuss. Tried to say too many words in too short a time. Who returns right in the back of Ninja Penguin. So Suskas, after spinning out of the lead on lap 3, has actually recovered quite well back into P7. So that kind of proves the pace that he had. There's been a good recovery, although it could have been a lot more for the Haas driver, as Artie makes that move on DBT very easily. We stay back here with Suskas, who's on the back of Ninja Penguin. He's managed to launch himself from last to P6. That's phenomenal actually for Ninja Penguin. He's also on a good strategy on fresh hard tyres. So Ninja Penguin is genuinely in position now, even though he started so far down the grid. So it's been a great race from Ninja Penguin. Probably in contention for driver of the day, along with Macedonian, who outstarted 10 but has jumped himself into the lead, courtesy of good pace in the first stint on those medium tyres and just being able to stay out a bit longer and spend less time on those hards, meaning that he's just been able to pull away from the guys behind who had to pit earlier. RJ Flow is going to be close to make it to the end of the race. I think he's going to have to pit again. Once it Mofo is fine for the race. Insulator should make it, but it's going to be nice and worn. Suskas actually might not quite make it. He's going to have had to do 27 laps by the end of the race, and I don't think the hards will last that long, so we might actually see Suskas come into pits, just listening to his paces for his recovery. So that's not... Yeah, those tyres are going to be screaming for a bit of relief now, but if Suskas can make it to the end, then that would be quite remarkable. 27 laps on a set of hards would be quite the achievement, but we'll have to see. If Suskas wants to wait 2 or 3 more laps to pit for softs, then he can. Otherwise he's just going to have to drive very carefully to conserve the life of those tyres. We saw Lunacy set the quickest lap of the race last lap as well, on his quickest teammate right in front of him, trying to hunt down the pair of Suskas and Ninja Penguin. He's actually closed him quite a lot in the last couple of laps. Got more yellows. F1 Boy is put in the wall in the middle of the straight there. That's an unusual place, although in a way it's not. He's probably gone wide and tried to hold it but not been able to. But F1 Boy is out of the race. We've got a virtual safety car, so DBT and Drow are in the pits now. I was about to say getting a good advantage there, but Drow's picked up a 5-second, which totally negates that advantage. But DBT will, he'll be able to hang on to a couple more positions. We'll see the guys at the back put on some fresh tyres because they've got nothing to lose. Virtual safety car, the first one of the race. These guys get to have a breather before the final 9 laps of the race. So we'll have to see if these guys are on their best behaviour. Don't pick up any drive-throughs, guys. That would be quite the heartbreak. Just trying to follow the Delta. A chance for a breather for everyone. To be honest, actually looking at the track, there's no gaps under a second. So these guys might just be taking it easy under the VSC. But we should see some of these guys converge. As Exmort has been a naughty boy and has sped under the Delta, he will get a drive-through penalty from P14, so he's going to have to serve that in 3 laps, otherwise he'll get disqualified, as a couple of guys also pick up warnings. Suskas has got the jump on Ninja Penguin, nearly broke DRS but not quite. Ninja Penguin will get DRS, which is a good thing. On the fresher tyres he should be able to close back up, but it's just a matter of whether he can get past Suskas before Honest Cook gets past him. Honest Cook on those fresh medium tyres. Up the front as well, we may as well pay attention to as well. IG Flow starting to close in on BMAC on those medium tyres. We mentioned him a couple laps ago. Not sure if he'll make it to the end or not, but he's definitely going to try because there is a podium on the cards. One Sick Mofo has also gained a few positions and he's in the fight for the podium. He's kind of staying around that 1.2, 1.1, so he is actually catching them slightly. Insulated not quite on the pace with the guys ahead, so he looks pretty set for P5. He's got 6.5 seconds behind him and 4.5 ahead, so Insulator looks fairly comfortable there. Got a bit of movement down the bottom as Drow's going to pit again. He's made a fair few stops. That's actually his second stop. I thought he'd made a couple more. MJ, his teammates, made 3 stops, so those Mercedes boys hard at work in the garage, putting the tyres on and off the car. Candy Cane will also come in and pit. He's just gone a lap down. May as well try and put on some fresh softs and go for a fastest lap just to gain some pride, possibly even put on some mediums and just send around the track. Looks like it is medium, so he's maybe run out of softs. But anyway, Suskas and Ninja Penguin getting nice and close again. Ninja Penguin closing to within half a second. Artie Chinks is also going to pit. What was that burst in there? Not too sure. So RG Cheng's going to pit for... He's going to pit for old medium, so he's probably running out of softs as well. He's going to, trying to make the most of the last few laps, and we'll have some good grip to, try and do that as DVT sets the quickest lap to race. MJ just picked the hards actually, so that's interesting. These guys are all probably running out of softs. You only get 3 in qualifying and then 1 in the race. They've probably all used them all already, which is fair enough. Candy Cane gets the time penalty. MJ's going to come into pits again, so make that, I think, 4 slots for him now. We'll jump on board here though, because this is where the fight is. BMAC has lost out, he's starting to lose out to IG Flow, and Once It Mofo's caught the pair of them, so this is going to be a real spicy battle for the last few races. IG Flow's called it, he's coming in, so he's going to put on some fresh softs. He obviously feels that those mediums are not going to make it to the end. So that exposes BMAC to Once It Mofo, who's got some great pace at the moment. That's just a lapped car coming out of the pits. That will be NJ. Pitting again for another set of cars, which is interesting. So IG Flow put on some fresh softs. He'll come out behind Lunacy and ahead of Ashuna Matata. So P9, he's going to be really quick. He'll probably set the quickest lap of the race on those fresh softs. Try and regain a couple of positions towards the end of the race. Ninja Penguin right in the back of Suskas as well. And Honest Cook's right behind these guys. So we've got 2 battle packs that have converged. So from P2 to P3, they've started to close in, as well as this battle for P5 with Suskas, Ninja Penguin and Honest Cook. Lucy hasn't quite been able to catch these guys yet, so he might run out of time to get involved in the fight. He's going to have to watch his mirrors as well for IG Flows soon. But yeah, Honest Cook on those fresh mediums, he's just made a mistake there, but I was about to say he's got a lot of grip, and he's going to have the optimal strategy, optimal tyre for this battle. As that Ninja Penguin is having a look on Suskas, starting left and right, but not quite getting close enough to make a lunge. Through here's where Honest Cook's going to have a lot of grip through this third sector, the tight corners. So he's going to line himself up for a run out of the final corner. It's a bit difficult to get the power down, but if you can, then you can really set yourself up for a move, as Ninja Penguin kind of makes a little bit of a mistake. He's run wide. Once It Mofo and BMAC, we missed that one. They have swapped positions, so Once It Mofo is up into P2. We'll have to jump on board down here as well, because we might see a move down here as Drag gets another time penalty. These 3 will not be able to swap over, but BMAC and Once It Mofo exchanging positions for the podium. So BMAC losing out to the Renault driver, who's made a really good comeback drive through the field. On those hard tyres, looks like he's just had the pace. Speaking of pace, Macedonian again we've kind of left slightly ignored, because he's been absolutely bossing it out front. He's got an 11.5 second gap over these guys, so he is uncatchable, and I haven't seen him pick up an absurd amount of penalties. So Macedonian's done a fantastic job so far, but he's still got 5 more laps to keep it on the track. Once It Mofo making moves on BMAC. As Honest Cook gets a time penalty, we'll have to check those in the next little while. So Ninja Penguin and Suskas. Honest Cook not quite close enough to dive it in. X-Mort will come and make a pit stop as well from P16, put on some fresh stops and go for a fastest lap. You see Honest Cook just trying to find a way past. And actually Lunacy's caught up to these guys, so I was almost writing Lunacy off, but he's managed to catch right up to these guys. This is going to be a 4-way fight for P5. I wonder if penalties will play a part. But regardless of that, Lunacy on track action, we've got yellows in the middle sector. I think that's a McLaren. It's not Shishima Matata, so it'll be DBT, as ID Flow does set the quick stuff the race. Is Ninja Penguin close enough? No, he's not. None of these guys are able to make a move. As we've got more yellows, I think that is a Williams, who's just in front of the battle for P2. Driver picks up another time penalty. As the the Ferrari guys get nice and close together. Lunacy will be wanting Honest Cook to get out of the way. Both these guys on quicker tyres. We've got a retirement actually. DVT's put it in the wall. Looks like he might have put it in the pit wall. We've got another virtual safety car as Macedonian picks up a penalty for a collision with Drial, who's a lapped car. I'm not sure why they've had a collision, because the lapped cars should be ghosted. So that's very weird, but it shouldn't lose him the lead. So DVT in the middle of the track there. That happens when you bottle it in the pit lane. The game will put you back out on the track because they don't want you to block the pit lane. So he's made a mistake there. But these guys, just get a little bit of a breather. Tyres get nice and cold, so they're going to have to watch it on the restart, as a couple of guys are picking up more penalties under the VSC, which is not really fantastic. Just keep it on the track and you'll be fine. But yeah, it's kind of neutralised the race once again. Insulated Suskas, Ninja Penguin, Orange Scoop, Lunacy. So Orange Scoop and Lunacy should have the best restart on the soft tyres. Lunacy's absolutely killed that restart, but his teammates going to have DRS, so it's probably more likely to make a move. But none of them are actually close enough to do it. No, not again. So the Ferraris are going to have to be creative and use the grip where they can. Orange Scoop's actually going to let Lunacy go. So Orange Scoop feels that he's not going to be able to get those two at this stage, or Lunacy may have a better chance. So Orange Scoop playing the team game there. If Lunacy doesn't get the positions on these two, he might let Orange Scoop back through. But if Lunacy can get Ninja Penguin and Suskas, or one of them, then that will be a win for Ferrari. So Orange Scoop there actually doing a good strat for Ferrari this time. Maybe Ferrari need to employ Orange Scoop to be their strategist, because it's been a while since we've seen a good move on the pit wall from Ferrari. But yeah, Lunacy will now be tasked with the job of hunting down Ninja Penguin, as Suskas is very, very deep. Those hard tyres still trying to get warm, as Ninja Penguin's kind of lost it there, and he's let Lunacy through, taking a bit too much of that left-hander, and it's so easy to ride the car and lose traction, and that's exactly what's happened. Lunacy has made the position up, so that little gamble there from Ferrari switching over has paid off, and Lunacy's going to have a mega run through the final corner. He might be able to get Suskas here as well. Suskas goes defensive straight away. He's actually got a good run out of the final corner, so he's not going to make it easy for Suskas. Now he's moved twice, so he can't move again. Suskas, he has to stay on the left-hand side. Lunacy will go down the inside with the traction, and he's going to make that move done. So Lunacy be able to pick up those positions. So well done there for Lunacy, back up to P5 after what was a really poor qualifying, and then having to pit very, very early for damage. I think he pit lap 1 or lap 2 for a fresh front wing. So Lunacy, a really good recovery drive showing his class. Now it's up to Honest Cook to have another ping at these guys, see if Ferrari can make up some even more positions. But yeah, some good racing there. Up the front, BMAC has dropped off a lot from One Slip Mofo, 2.5 seconds. So it looks like One Slip Mofo's just been able to turn those tyres on a bit more than BMAC. BMAC's losing time. Insulator still 6 seconds behind and 6 seconds ahead as he runs very deep there actually. So he's just outbroken himself slightly. So he's going to lose a little bit of time, as Honest Cook and Ninja Penguin are going to go side by side. Ninja Penguin will lose out, Honest Cook able to make the move. So Ferrari is looking real racy at the end of the race. The move to let Lunacy through to gain both of those positions, and then Honest Cook being able to follow through as well. They've done very, very well making that two-stop work when it's possibly not quite optimal. So good job there from Ferrari. Definitely deserve recognition. RG Flow's in the back of this pack as well, no one was scratched off. So Ninja Penguin, I'm not sure if he'll bother letting RG Flow go, because there's only 2 laps left and RG Flow may not be able to get the Ferraris. We'll have to see. Ninja Penguin actually ran pretty wide there into turn 2, so RG Flow will be right in his tail. But for P8, P9, they may just hold formation. RG Flow does have really good pace, but probably not quite enough to get the guys in front, but we'll have to wait and see what they do. He might actually make a dive into turn 10 at the end of the straight, and then give himself his own chances. You can see how much grip he's got, as I think Orange Cook ran into gravel there, so he would have lost a little bit of time there. But he will cut that corner and run wide, so that'll be 2 warnings. Yeah, he picks up a penalty. Up ahead, Orange Cook will get Suskas, which I'm on board with Ninja Penguin, who's got the perfect view of this. Got some more yellows, that is a lapped car of Candy Cane. Orange Cook gets the move done on Suskas, so both Ferraris able to get past both Suskas and Ninja Penguin, so fantastic there from Ferrari, picking up, instead of a 7-8, they've managed to claw themselves up to a 5-6, so that's absolutely fantastic for Ferrari. And Suskas looks like he's starting to really struggle. 26 lap old hards, I did mention a long time ago, 27 laps on hards would be absolutely phenomenal, and it looks like he's going to try and make it work, but those tyres, they're going to be absolutely shot. IG Flow will get Ninja Penguin, doesn't make it hard for him. He'll cut the corner, but that's okay. So IG Flow probably will get Suskas actually now because of the age of those tyres. See Dirty Air pushing me out wide, but he's going to have so much more grip, 5 lap old softs compared to 27 lap old hards. So he should be able to get the move done, possibly even out of the next corner. He's going to have so much more grip. Look how much later he brakes. Oh, he's actually running to the back of him, that's how much grip he's got. And he'll probably be able to run alongside. Not quite. we'll have to leave these guys because as Ari-Cheng's and P White go side by side, because Macedonian is coming through the final corner now. Absolutely killer race. He lost a little bit of time in the last few laps, but he has held on to P1 with a 5-second penalty. He's got a 9.5 second lead though, so that should not affect the final result. Once it Mofo will come across the line in P2 after a good drive there, gaining lots of positions. BMAC will come home in P3, losing touch to One Stick Mofo, but a podium nonetheless, which would be fantastic. But Insulator, a bit of a lonely race in the end, started up quite high. Lunacy's actually caught him a lot, so I wonder who's going to come out ahead. It will be Insulator ahead of Lunacy, ahead of Honest Cook. IG Flow will come across the line, but Ninja Penguin will jump both Honest Cook and IG Flow, and yeah, Honest Cook dropping to P7, so that 5.6 Ferrari is now 5.7. Suskas comes across the line on those incredibly old mediums, hard tyres, sorry, so good effort there to take them 28 laps. That's just absolutely insane. Ashina Matata, P White down the race star, so racing point at P12 and 13, no points today. David Carbon will be the final person to cross the line with Exmore, the Mercedes Jew of MJ and Drow, and then Candy Cane all being lapped, and then the two DNS of course will not finish the race. So we'll stay on with Debut Carbon as he comes around the final corner for the final time. He'll come across the line to take P14. But yeah, that's been that. Bit of a crazy Spanish Grand Prix, a few good fights throughout the field. I was mentioning during quali that's possibly going to be quite a difficult race, but they've made it work. They've made some fantastic moves up and down the field. So it's been some good racing from these Tier 4 lads. Ninja Penguin picking up the fastest, the driver of the day, making up the most positions, presumably, so well done there. It will be Macedonian who takes the biggest trophy of the lot though, winning for Haas. His teammate Suskas will be a bit disappointed he's not up there after crashing out of the lead, but Macedonian's been able to pick up the pieces and absolutely storm away to a victory by over 9 seconds. One Stick Mofo on the podium with BMAC as well, so those three having really good races. One Stick Mofo coming from P13 as well, Macedonian from P14, so many positions gained, both worthy candidates for driver of the day. BMAC from P5 up to P3, Insulator probably could have been a little bit further up, but he lagged out at the first few laps, which lost him a lot of places. Lunacy, after a poor qualifying and then damage on the first lap, has managed to recover to P5, so that's fantastic. Ninja Penguin from last to 6th is good. Honest Cook, RG Flow, Suskas and Ashina Matata will pick up the final points, with P White just outside it after being very enthusiastic on the strategy and trying to make a medium to soft one-stop work. The most adventurous strategy I've seen around Spain actually. So well done there for giving it a go, but not quite paying off for P White in the Renault. Just the two DNFs as well, so these guys have done well to keep it on the track. But yeah, that will do us for this evening. Congratulations again to Macedonian, One Stick Mofo and BMAC for the podiums. Bit of a difficult track, Spain, so they've come out on top showing their class. Some really good drives through the field as well from many drivers. A few too many to name, but yeah, congratulations to those guys as well. Yeah, the whole top 10 deserved their points, so well done to the lot of you. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go check out the Race Spec YouTube channel for this tier's last few races. At the start of next stream, I'll pull up the standings and let you guys know what that is. See who's in the fight for the drivers and the constructors. But yeah, make sure you go check out Race Spec YouTube to see all these guys' races, as well as Tier 1 to 3, as well as Tier 5 Pacific. And yeah, plenty of other Race Spec action during the week as well, so make sure you go check out those. But yeah, that will do us for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. That was a fun race to commentate on. Really enjoyed that. That was a really good one. So yeah, these guys have done well as per usual. So that was a fun one. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Same time, same place next week. I'll check the track for you quickly. I believe is it Baku? Yes, it is Baku. So Azerbaijan next week. That's going to be very, very eventful. Traditionally known for some interesting races, a few overtaking spots, plenty of walls, plenty of mistakes to be made. So that's going to be a nice chaotic race. So that will be next week. Make sure you tune in for that because these guys will put on a show, I am sure. So thanks guys, and I will catch you later. Have a good evening.